The red glow of the live sign reflected in Alex Carter's eyes as he adjusted the camera mounted on the corner of his desk. He wasn't just another gamer streaming late at night. His channel had exploded over the past year because of one thing: horror. He specialized in pushing boundaries, exploring allegedly haunted locations, dabbling in urban legends, and streaming it all live. His audience loved the adrenaline, the tension, and the possibility that maybe, just maybe, something real might slip through the screen. Tonight was supposed to be no different, just another night of entertainment, a little fear, and a lot of laughs. Beside him sat two of his closest friends and co-streamers, Rachel and Emily. Rachel, with her dyed crimson hair and sharp wit, was the one who kept the energy high, always ready with a sarcastic comment or laugh that made the audience feel like part of the group. Emily was softer spoken, almost shy, but her nervousness added authenticity. She jumped at the slightest sound, and the viewers ate it up. The apartment itself was new to Alec Taburley 2 weeks since he had moved in. It was on the top floor of an old building on the edge of town. Cheap rent, high ceilings, and a strange sense of isolation. The landlord had muttered something about long vacancies and tenants who never lasted long, but Alex dismissed it. Ghost stories were just opportunities. A creepy backdrop made for better streams. As the three settled in, the chat exploded on the screen. Thousands of viewers were already tuned in, the scrolling comments a chaotic blur. Let's go. Alex, you better scare the hell out of me tonight. Emily's face, when she's nervous, is priceless. Rachel greater than, keeping the stream alive. Alex leaned into his mic, his voice low and dramatic. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's stream is a little different. We're not just gaming. We're not just reacting. We're gonna test out this apartment, see if the rumors are true. Some people said they've seen things here. Shadows, movements, a scream late at night. And lucky for you, he spread his hands with a grin. You get front row seats. Rachel rolled her eyes. Oh, please, Alex. The only thing haunted in here is that broken heater. That sounds like it's choking to death. The chat burst with laughing emojis, and the mood was light. They settled into the night routine, reacting to creepy videos viewers sent in, doing dares suggested by chat, sharing urban legends. But even in the first hour, something felt off. Emily was the first to notice. Hey, did anyone hear that? She whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of the stream. Hear what? Alex asked, glancing over. Like scratching from the wall. Rachel smirked, leaning into her mic. Yeah, this is the part where Emily freaks out, because a mouse is trying to join the stream, but the chat started to shift. Comments zipped by. Wait, WTF behind you. Pause, did anyone else see that? Replay PLZ, there was someone in the corner. Alex frowned, rewinding the stream on his monitor while the girls leaned in. The video feeds showed the three of them laughing, the warm glow of string lights behind them, and just for a moment in the far corner near the closed door, something darker than shadow, a tall, vague shape that seemed to lean toward the camera before melting back into the darkness. Okay? That's creepy as hell, Alex muttered, trying to play it cool for the audience. But it could just be compression or bad lighting. Rachel chimed in, or your dumb shadow when you leaned forward. Genius. But Emily didn't laugh. She hugged her knees, eyes locked on the door. The stream continued, but the comments wouldn't let it go. It moved. Not a shadow, bro. I swear, there's someone in the room with you. The tension thickened. Every creak of the old apartment seemed amplified, every flicker of the lights just a little too deliberate. Rachel tried to joke, but even she fell quiet when the overhead light dimmed and buzzed loudly for a few seconds before returning to normal. Old wiring, Alex insisted, though his tone lacked conviction. Then came the smell. Metallic, faint. At first, like rust, Emily wrinkled her nose. Do you smell that? What? Alex asked. It smells like blood, Rachel scoffed. You watch too many horror movies. But in the corner of the room, near the very same door where the shadow had been spotted, a faint reddish smear appeared on the white paint. None of them saw it yet, but the chat exploded. Blood on the wall. WTF. Look left. Look left. Is this scripted? Holy shit, this is real. Emily clutched Alex's arm. The viewers, they're saying there's something on the wall. Alex turned and his stomach dropped. The smear was there, fresh and glistening, slowly trailing downward as if an unseen hand had pressed into the wall and dragged crimson fingers across it. He went pale, swallowing hard. Rachel's laugh faltered. Okay, that's not funny anymore. The apartment seemed to breathe with them, silence pressing against their ears. The sound of the chat's frantic comments felt deafening compared to the suffocating quiet of the room. Alex tried to regain control, his voice shaking just slightly. All right, guys, maybe this is some prank. Maybe someone messed with the paint earlier but before he could finish, a thud echoed from behind the door, a heavy, deliberate sound like something massive pressing against the wood. Emily screamed, and the mic clipped from the sharpness of it. The chat erupted. Oh my god, I T-knocked. Don't open the door. I'm shaking Aaron. Bro! This is not fake. Rachel stood, bravado faltering. Alex, did you lock that door? He nodded slowly. His eyes locked on the handle, which trembled as if an unseen hand was pressing on the other side. Emily whispered. Don't open it. Please, don't open it. But the viewers chanted otherwise, spamming the chat. Open IT. Open IT. Alex's pulse thundered in his ears. He leaned toward the mic, his voice barely steadied. Zup. Okay, guys, you wanted haunted. You're gonna get haunted. As he reached for the handle, the stream timer ticked past midnight, and the room's temperature plunged. The room had gone quiet, except for the faint hum of Ryan's computer. The stream chat moved so fast, it was impossible to read every comment, but the words that kept flashing across the screen were clear. Behind you. Look again. It's moving. Ryan leaned back in his chair, trying to play it off with a laugh. Okay, guys, you're freaking yourselves out. There's nothing there. It's just a shadow. Emma didn't look so convinced. Her face had gone pale. She pointed toward the closet, her hand trembling. Ryan, it's not just a shadow. Look at the door. The camera caught it perfectly. A dark streak of red slid down the wooden surface, thick and slow, like fresh paint. Except it wasn't paint. The liquid pooled at the bottom edge, seeping onto the floorboards. Rachel whispered, barely audible over her mic, "That's blood." The audience went insane. The chat exploded with emotes of screaming faces, skulls, and messages in all caps. Turn off the stream. Call the police. Holy shit, this is real. Emma stumbled backward, bumping into the green screen behind them. Ryan, stop this, please. I don't want to do this anymore. But Ryan's eyes were locked on the lens, his voice shaking, even though he tried to hide it. No, this is incredible. Do you guys see this? We're making history right now. Nobody's ever captured something like this live. The closet door groaned. The sound cut through the silence, like a rusted hinge being forced open. Emma screamed, clutching Ryan's arm, while Rachel froze with her hand over her mouth. The door creaked an inch, then another. The gap was pitch black, darker than the rest of the room. The camera auto-adjusted its exposure, but no light penetrated that void dot from the stream chat. Don't open it. It's watching you. Close the stream now. Ryan swallowed hard. It's probably, I don't know, pipes or some old trick of the light. He reached toward the closet. Emma slapped his hand away. Are you insane? You're not touching that. Rachel pointed at the floor. Look, the blood was spreading faster now. It wasn't dripping anymore. It was flowing, soaking into the rug under the desk. The smell hit next, metallic and thick, filling the air with the unmistakable scent of iron. Emma gagged and covered her nose. Suddenly, the monitors flickered. The stream stuttered, the camera feed cutting to static for a split second. When the image returned, something new appeared in the background. In the far left corner of the room, by the closet, stood a figure. It was tall, impossibly tall, its head brushing the ceiling. Its body was only a silhouette, like a smear of ink on reality, but the shape was wrong. Too many joints, limbs bending at unnatural angles. Emma saw it first. Her scream pierced the headset microphones, sharp enough to distort the audio. She stumbled backward and fell against the wall. Ryan, do you see it? Do you see? Ryan whipped his head around, but when he looked directly at the corner, nothing was there. Only the closet, its door now halfway open. The chat was on fire. Thousands of viewers were typing the same thing at once. It's right there. Don't turn away. It's moving closer. Rachel's voice cracked. Ryan, the viewers aren't lying. I saw it. I swear to God, I saw it. Ryan shook his head, sweat dripping down his temple. He laughed nervously. It's just a glitch. Maybe the stream's desensing. The camera, the figure twitched. Not walked, not glided. It twitched forward like a broken puppet yanked by invisible strings. Every frame of movement looked unnatural, jerky, wrong. Emma scrambled to her feet. No. I'm done. She grabbed for the door handle, but when she twisted it, the lock wouldn't budge. She pulled harder, panic in her voice. It won't open! Oh my God, it won't open! The shadow twitched closer. The cameras caught it. The audience screaming in the chat. Its body was nothing but black static, but its eyes, two hollow pits, glowing faint red, were fixed on them. Rachel backed up against the desk, her eyes wide. Ryan, stop the stream. Please, end this right now. Ryan's fingers hovered over the keyboard. but he hesitated. He glanced at the screen 10,000 viewers, the highest he'd ever had. His career was right there in the numbers. He whispered, almost to himself, "This could make me the biggest streamer in horror history." Emma spun on him, her voice breaking with rage and terror. "Who cares about your fucking stream? We're gonna die, Ryan." The lights went out. The only illumination came from the monitors, casting an eerie glow over their terrified faces. The chat scrolled like a waterfall, but the text blurred as the cameras glitched again. A scraping sound echoed from the closet. Something dragging across wood, something heavy. Then, with a violent slam, the closet door burst wide open. Darkness poured out, thick and suffocating, swallowing the edges of the room, and from that black void, hands-pale, twisted, blood-soaked hands scrawled onto the floor. Not one pair, not two, dozens. Emma shrieked and stumbled backward, slipping on. The pool of blood spreading across the rug. Rachel screamed too, clutching the desk as the monitors flickered violently. Ryan could barely breathe. His chest heaved as he whispered into the mic, his voice cracking for the first time that night. "Oh my God, this is real. The stream." Audience lost their minds. Thousands of viewers typed the same desperate plea, "Get out. Get out now." But it was too late. The first of the creatures began to crawl out of the closet. The hands were not just hands anymore. They dragged bodies behind them, creatures forcing themselves through the narrow opening of the closet as though the void inside had no end. Their skin was gray and slick, stretched too tight over long, jagged bones. Some had no eyes, just hollow sockets dripping with black fluid. Others had mouths that gaped wider than humanly possible, teeth cracked and rotting, but sharp enough to glint in the faint glow of the monitors. Emma screamed as one of the creatures lunged forward, its nails scraping deep grooves into the hardwood floor. She stumbled toward Ryan, clutching his arm like a lifeline. "Make it stop. Make IT stop." Ryan's brain screamed at him to end the stream, but his body locked up. He stared at the chat, frozen in shock as the words flooded across the screen. "Run. Behind you. It's in the room." Rachel broke first. She grabbed the desk lamp and hurled it toward the advancing monster. The bulb shattered on its chest, sparks flying, but the creature didn't flinch. Instead, its head snapped toward her with a sickening crack. The noise echoed through the room like brittle bones snapping in half. Rachel backed away, tears streaking down her cheeks. "We're dead. Oh God, we're already dead." The first creature fully emerged now, its body hunched and twitching. Its limbs were far too long, its arms dangling almost to the floor. Blood poured from its fingers, leaving trails that hissed and bubbled on the wood as if the very liquid was corrosive. Emma gagged and turned her face away, but not fast enough. Another clawed hand shot out and grabbed her ankle. She screamed and kicked violently, slipping in the thickening pool of blood. Her foot connected with the monster's arm, breaking off chunks of skin like wet paper. Beneath, there was nothing but writhing shadows, an endless blackness that moved like liquid smoke. The audience saw everything. The camera never looked away. The live chat scrolled in an uncontrollable storm. "Call 911. Oh my God, this is real blood. Someone help them." Ryan snapped out of it. He grabbed Emma by both arms, yanking her away from the reaching claws. Her shoe tore off in the monster's grip, dissolving instantly as though dipped in acid. He pulled her to the far corner of the room, his voice trembling. "Stay here. Don't move." Rachel, meanwhile, had grabbed the office chair and was using it like a shield, shoving it between her and the advancing creature. "Ryan, do something." The room shook. From the closet, more creatures poured out, clawing at the frame, splitting it wider. The drywall cracked, the wood splintered, as though the void inside was tearing its way into their world. A black mist spread through the air, chilling the room until their breath came out in clouds. One of the monitors popped and went black. Another flickered, distorting the feed. But the remaining camera stayed live, catching every scream, every drop of blood. Emma sobbed uncontrollably, rocking against the wall. "I don't want to die. I don't want to die." Rachel screamed as the first monster threw the chair aside like paper. It lunged at her, jaws opening impossibly wide. She barely dodged, but its claws raked across her arm. Blood sprayed the desk, the keyboard, splattering across the monitor lens. The audience gasped in unison, the chat exploding with panic. Rachel clutched her arm, crimson soaking her sleeve. She stared at Ryan, her voice hoarse. "Help me." Ryan finally moved. He grabbed the metal mic stand, ripping it from its base, and swung it like a bat at the monster. The pole connected with its skull in a wet crunch. The head jerked sideways, but instead of falling, the creature laughed. It was a sound that didn't belong in the world of the living hype, guttural and layered with dozens of voices. The laughter filled the room, shaking the walls, rattling the glass in the window. Emma shrieked again, covering her ears, rocking back and forth. "Stop it, stop it, stop it." The other monsters crawled out, now 3, then 4, then more. Their claws scraped the floor, their movements jerky and unnatural, like film footage skipping frames. Rachel stumbled backward, blood dripping down her arm, pale with shock. Ryan planted himself in front of her, gripping the mic stand with both hands. "Stay behind me. Don't let them touch you." The creatures spread out, circling. Their glowing red eyes flickered like dying embers, locking on their prey. The closest one lunged at Ryan, and he swung the stand with every ounce of strength he had. The pole cracked across its jaw, snapping bone. The creature staggered, but another immediately rushed in from the side. It slashed across Ryan's chest, screamed as blood gushed from the wound, the claws tearing through skin and shirt alike. He fell to his knees, clutching his chest as the crimson spread fast. The chat erupted with horror. "He's bleeding. This isn't a joke. Call someone." Emma shrieked and crawled toward him, slipping in his blood. She pulled at his shirt, her hands shaking. "Ryan, no, no, please, no." Rachel grabbed the broken mic stand and swung wildly, forcing 2 of the monsters back for a moment. But they weren't retreating, they were toying with them. The laughter came again, louder, overlapping from every corner of the room. The sound grew so intense that the glass in the monitors cracked, spider-webbing across the screen. The feed glittered. Freezing frames of Ryan's blood-covered chest, Emma's tear-streaked face, and Rachel's frantic swinging. The chat begged them to leave, but the door behind them still wouldn't open. One of the creatures finally lunged straight at Rachel. She swung too late. Its claws ripped across her face, tearing skin from cheek to jaw. Blood sprayed the camera lens, blurring the image with crimson streaks. Rachel fell to the floor, screaming, clutching her face as blood pumped through her fingers. Emma screamed even louder, her voice raw and broken. Ryan tried to push himself up, his shirt soaked in red, his eyes glassy with pain. He looked into the camera, whispering, "Help us, please." And that was when the closet stopped being just a closet. The wall split open with a thunderous crack, black void spreading outward like veins across the plaster. The creatures swarmed through it now, not crawling, but running, hundreds of hands, dozens of glowing eyes, jaws snapping and drooling blood. The room had become a cage, and the cage was filling with monsters. The air in the room was suffocating, heavy with the stench of iron and rot. Blood pooled on the floor, slick and spreading, mixing with the black ooze that dripped from the creature's jaws. The streaming audience could barely see through the crimson smears on the lens, but what they did see was enough to etch itself into nightmares forever. Thousands still watched, frozen between disbelief and horror. Fingers glued to their keyboards as they spammed the chat with helpless pleas. Emma clutched Ryan, her sobs sharp and shallow, while he gasped, fighting to keep consciousness. His chest was torn wide open, each breath a wet rattle, blood spilling over his trembling hands. His eyes fluttered, but he forced them open, staring into the camera as if the faceless crowd on the other side of the screen might somehow save him. "Please, don't let it end like this." His voice cracked, and a string of blood dripped from his lips. Rachel lay on the floor nearby, writhing in agony, her face half shredded. Her once defiant screams now reduced to a wet gurgle. She tried to push herself up, her good eye darting wildly, but her arm collapsed under her weight. She slipped in the thick blood that now covered almost every inch of the wooden floor. The creatures didn't rush in all at once. They circled, savoring the fear, their laughter swelling like a choir of the damned. Their skeletal forms twitched unnaturally, limbs bending the wrong way, claws dragging lines through the wood. The sound was unbearable, like nails on a chalkboard, amplified 100 times. One of them crawled forward on all fours, its body jerking like a marionette with broken strings. It stopped inches from Emma, tilting its eyeless head as if studying her. Then, in a blur, it swiped. Emma screamed as her shoulder split open under the claws. She stumbled back, crashing into the desk. Blood gushed from the wound, warm and fast, soaking through her shirt. She pressed her hand against it, trembling violently, but the blood seeped through her fingers instantly. "It hurts. It hurts. Oh God, I don't want to die here." Ryan tried to drag himself toward her, leaving a trail of crimson across the floor. His hand reached for hers, but before he could touch her, another monster slammed its clawed hand through his leg. The sound was a wet crack, and Ryan's scream tore through the room. The audience heard it raw, unfiltered, echoing through their headphones and speakers. The chat went berserk. Someone call the cops. This is real. This is real. they're being slaughtered. The monster pulled its claw free, and Ryan's blood sprayed in an arc across the desk, coating the mouse, the keyboard, even the streaming mic. His body convulsed, his screams choking on his own blood. Rachel, barely able to breathe, tried one last desperate act. She dragged herself toward the overturned mic stand, her bloody fingers slipping as she pulled herself forward. Her breaths came in ragged wheezes, but her eyes burned with the last flicker of survival. She grabbed the pole, turned, and rammed it into the nearest creature's chest. The impact was brutal. The jagged pole pierced through its torso, black sludge gushing out like a waterfall. For a split second, the creature shrieked, a sound so piercing the monitors buzzed with distortion. Its body convulsed violently, its arms flailing. Then, with a sickening crack, its skin split wide, and dozens of smaller, rat-sized creatures spilled from its insides. The floor writhed with them, hundreds of little monstrosities scuttling across the blood-slick wood, their needle teeth gnashing. They swarmed Rachel instantly, climbing over her body, biting into her flesh. She screamed again, but her voice was drowned under the chittering swarm. Blood sprayed as chunks of her skin were ripped away, the creatures burrowing into her like maggots. Emma's face froze in shock as she watched her friend vanish beneath the tide of gnashing teeth. Her scream became inhuman, a raw howl of despair that rattled the glass in the room. Ryan's voice cracked through the chaos. "Emma, run!" His face was pale, his body soaked in blood, his strength almost gone, but his eyes still clung to her with desperate love. Emma shook her head violently, sobbing. "No, no, I can't leave you." The largest of the creatures moved now. Its body was twice the size of the others, its spine arching upward, bones jutting through gray flesh like jagged spikes. Its mouth hung open, wide enough to split its face in half. It stepped toward Emma slowly, deliberately, drool mixed with blood dripping from its jagged teeth. Emma pressed herself against the wall, her breathing rapid, her hands shaking uncontrollably. She looked at Ryan one last time. His lips moved, whispering something she couldn't hear, but she knew what it was. "Run." The monster lunged. Emma dove to the side, crashing into the desk. The monitors toppled, sparks flying as they shattered on impact. The feed distorted, static tearing across the screen, but it didn't cut out. The audience still saw every second as Emma scrambled for the fallen keyboard, clutching it like a shield. She swung it wildly at the creature's face. The plastic cracked, keys flying across the room, but it barely slowed the thing down. Its claw lashed out, raking across her stomach. She froze. Her eyes, wide as warm blood, poured down her front, spilling onto the floor in thick rivers. Her knees buckled. She dropped the keyboard, pressing her hands to her stomach, but the blood flowed too fast, soaking through her fingers. She gasped, her eyes glassy, her breath shallow. Ryan's broken voice called her name, but it was drowned in the roar of laughter from the monsters. The sound was overwhelming now, a chorus of death that rattled the walls, cracked the ceiling, and made the camera flicker violently. The largest creature grabbed Emma by the hair, dragging her up off the floor. Her blood left a long smear behind her feet dangling as she kicked weakly. She looked into the camera, her face pale, her eyes filled with terror and pain. With her last breath, she whispered, "Help us." The creature tilted its head, then in one brutal motion sank its jaws into her neck. Blood sprayed across the wall, soaking the posters, dripping down in rivers. The audience saw everything: the tearing flesh, the lifeless slump of her body, the twitching as the creature gnawed. Ryan screamed one final, broken scream as the swarm descended on him, tearing into his chest, his arms, his face. Blood sprayed upward, hitting the ceiling, raining back down in crimson drops. His scream cut off into a wet gurgle, and then there was nothing but the sound of chewing and tearing. The feed glitched violently. The camera shook as if something inside the lens was clawing its way out. The final image before the stream went black was a close-up of one of the creature's faces, its eyeless sockets staring into the lens, blood dripping from its teeth as if smiling at the audience, and then the stream cut out. Thousands of viewers sat frozen at their screens, horrified, traumatized, realizing they had just watched a massacre unfold in real time. 4 days, clips spread online, debated as hoax or reality, but those who watched live knew the truth. The blood, the screams, the look in Emma's eyes before the no special effects could ever fake that. And somewhere on a dark corner of the internet, the stream flickered back online. The same room, now empty. The floor still soaked with blood. The closet door wide open, waiting.
Please like and subscribe channel Fear Frequency for more horror stories. Thank you.